Well, sure. Well, let's get it popping, man. On this week's episode, we're going to get into a couple of different things. We're going to talk about week 2 NFL preseason, all the stories going on, catching you up with a little bit of everything from training camp and a little bit of sneak peek. Let's get some opinions on the drama going down with Hard Knocks. Okay, if y'all are up on that,
you gotta watch.
Come on. I'm fired up right now. And then we're gonna close it out again with MLB, since there's not too much going on with them, but the races are still boiling down. So we're gonna catch everybody up. But first, let's get it started with another episode of America's favorite game show. Who's the motherfucker?
And the jump off topic, what everybody's been talking about. Who hasn't heard all this? Dana White lets the cat out of the bag at UFC 278 when he's on there with the Gronks, which was a fiasco of itself. However, Dana White said himself, which opened up the whole who's the motherfucker talks again. If you guys haven't seen anything today on Monday.
This is the season finale of Who's the Motherfucker, man. This is it right here. Just close the door.
Dana White said he personally had a done deal with Brady and Gronk going to Las Vegas until Gruden screwed it up and put the kibosh on it.
Come on. Nobody had that. Who had that on their card? Who had that?
I can't remember. I tried to look for the
I know what you had. You had Jimmy Garoppolo hands down because you were trying to convince me that it was Jimmy Garoppolo, and I was not falling for.
But then you found the little tidbit from the homie investigation team about Tannehill.
That's right.
I still feel it could be Tannehill. At the same time,
just take everybody back real quick. I was on Tannehill for the reasons of he has a boy in the game, which is Mike Vrabel, head coach, Tennessee Titans, that used to be his teammate. Now, remember the word that Tom Brady so choice used when he was on LeBron's HBO TV show, The Shop. He said, "Oh, you gonna stick with that?" Oh, okay. So what I went with was he felt comfortable talking like that with somebody. And who else would you feel comfortable talking like that to? Would be a former teammate. So if you're going to stick with Ryan Tannehill, I'm going to give it to you one more time. And sure enough, he did. Now, little did we know, okay, because the obvious fingers was pointing to Jimmy Garoppolo, right? Everybody thought because they were teammates.
They were teammates. He didn't want Jimmy. There's always the thing that he was behind the scenes getting Jimmy traded.
Right. He didn't want it.
He's from the Bay Area.
Right.
I remember when he was a free agent, there was all that talk that San Francisco should go get him, and then there was mutual interest. But after this bombshell this weekend, it is clear that Derek Carr is that motherfucker he was talking about because John Gruden blew it up. I will tell you this, and a lot of people were talking about that. John Gruden's not that coach. He's not that guy that can give up power. He's kind of like the guy in Arizona. He's got to call the plays. He's got to run the offense. He's got to get his kind of quarterback. We're going to do my kind of stuff. And when you bring in a Tom Brady, you are ceding power, as you should. You are ceding power to play call. And Tom Brady's going to surround himself with his guys. Gronk is going to come.
Right.
You know,
AB was already there.
And that's why they said John blew that thing up. And I think it ended up being the best for Tom and Gronk because I don't think the Raiders would have won that Super Bowl that year. I think going to Tampa Bay was their best spot.
Yeah, for sure.
Because you got to remember that defense was not good. That defense for the Raiders was not good. And then remember he can't. And that's now we know they were saying that this morning. Now that explains why he went and threw those 5 touchdowns in Las Vegas. And if you remember, he was heated that night on the sidelines to Tom Brady. We had the out of control Tom Brady on the sideline that night, where he was getting people's asses.
That's right.
So now that all makes sense because it was kind of like of all the games for Tom Brady to get in teammates' asses on the sideline. What's he pissed off about the Raider game? Now we find out he was like, "Oh, I'm going to show you." Okay, yeah. He was out there lighting them up.
No, we thought that story was good last year. Or 2 years ago when that happened. We thought that story was good. We thought that was the Breaking Bad. This is the Better Call Saul right here. Because now that you got all the details that are tying everything together, with all of this, because Gronk is like, oh yeah, I was down. This was happening. Okay, we was putting this on. And now that you look at the way that it all turned out for everybody, right? Because you had the Chris Godwin, Henry Ruggs, Mr. Top Golf himself on the squad already. Gronk says he's coming. You already got Waller. Okay. You got third and Renfro already there. You might have had to give up a couple of these assets or something like this. I don't know, because of, money contractually. But look at how everything eventually turned out. You got Gruden out, AB come and go, ended up with Tom Brady anyway. Of course, the tragedy of the Henry Ruggs situation. All of this came from this tree of Tom Brady coming. This is better than the damn Bill Walsh coaching tree right here.
It's a whole lot of nothing with the Brady. We're never going to find out till the book comes out in 10 years, unless that's what he was working on when he went to the Bahamas or wherever he went the last 11 days.
What was he doing out there?
Maybe he went out there to work on the book signing and the book deal and, everything else.
Was he ditching? Was he pulling one of those what's the damn buzzword? The NBA buzzword. Load management. So I don't know how the hell I forget that. Okay.
We always do.
Right.
I will say this.
What was he really doing? Was it a load management situation? Was it a personal thing that he will not talk about? Was it one of those I'm just gonna pull my OG card and go?
I think what it was one of those things where, I'm not saying the family had it planned, but remember his excuse for retiring, which we now know was not really happening because he had the whole Miami Dolphins thing in the background.
Right.
I do believe, by the way, that this is it for Tom. I don't think there's a 2023 for Tom.
Dude, I think get into this. This better be it, because it ain't gonna look good.
Well, no, because it's not, because the way he's handling the preseason, and that's why I believe that he's hanging. Because remember, he's got a son from before Giselle, and he's even mentioned throughout the year that son has been. Yeah. He's in New York City, and he's been wanting more and more time, which I totally understand. Tom understands, and I think the kids are getting older. I think a couple of them are in high school. I think the two boys are in high school now.
Yeah, and,
they got football stuff going on, and they want dad around. I think dad, it's one of those things where he knows the offense. They're going to do one of those things where they don't play a whole lot of starters, like the Rams don't play their starters. So it's like, what reps do I really need now? Would I prefer him in camp? Absolutely. But I think this is a sign where, hey, I'm just here to play this year. I really think it's going to be disappointing, because I don't think Tampa Bay is going to do very well, because Tom is not clearly as focused as he is in previous years.
When have you ever heard of somebody taking 11 days off in the middle of training camp? Never.
Yeah, that's why I agree.
Unless you're holding out. Or there's some quarrel.
There could be. I also just think Tom doesn't give a shit. I think kind of he's pulling your OG card you brought up. He just doesn't give a shit. You don't like it? I can retire again right now.
Now.
Right now, I'll walk out right now. You're gonna have to start giving a pick, and everybody and their mom is gonna know you're in dire straits for a QB. It's not like you're the Giants, who are literally saying Tyrod Taylor's going to start taking first team reps and we'll figure out a quarterback later, because they know they're not going anywhere. Tampa Bay, they're a top 5 team allegedly in the NFL with Tom Brady. I agree with you with Tom Brady. So they're looking at like, this is my last year. I got family things I want to go do. If you don't like it, I'll walk away, and you can go try to get, the 49ers will probably rake you over the coals for Jimmy. But what are you going to do with QB if I walk away? So basically they're stuck. They've made a coaching decision to keep him. They sold themselves to the devil for this year. And he's kind of, I agree, pulling the OG card and saying, I'm going to do what I want to do. That was the downside of firing the head coach for him. It's because now you've shown him how much power he has. And I get he's Tom Brady. He's deserved that power. But now he's milking that power because he knows this is it for me.
Yeah.
Look, there's juice. Okay. There's wheel routes to cover. We got to move the chains, challenge flags, goal line stances, end arounds. I mean, come on. We got 4-3 defenses. All the buzzwords are back in play, man. I'm trying to tell you, I'm ready for this. I'm ready for this. And I'm laid out. I'm gonna be fully prepared this year because I think that what we're gonna find this year, bro, both of y'all, is status quo is no longer status quo. Youth is not always wasted on the young because they coming, boy. They ain't coming. And if you enjoy it, like I used to tell my boy Sticks back in the day, if you stuck on these fools because they old and washed, because they got a name, you better get that damn shit up right now because these young boys is coming. And the NFL schedule, it don't play around with nobody. I just scanned a couple schedules, man, just for a random team. And it ain't nice for anybody on these teams, man. But I think we got a couple surprises, man. Is there anything that you guys saw in the from this last week's preseason, either games or big notable stories that popped out from this week of NFL?
Seattle's gonna be
offense is whack.
They're gonna be lucky to win 3 games.
They're gonna be a struggle there to see, especially when they open up, like you were talking about the schedule, homie, open up at home against the old faithful Russell Wilson. That should be interesting. Your Ravens are still 22 straight wins in preseason.
They care about this. These are things that they care about.
Still haven't signed Lamar yet.
No, because they don't care about that.
So Baker took the starting spot in Carolina, didn't he?
Okay, yeah.
Got called out.
See, now I didn't see that happen. I thought Sam Darnold was gonna send him home, tail between his legs, and it just
they announced that this morning.
I know, but I thought Sam Darnold was gonna do his job and fight him off, and he was going to end up on the Johnny Manziel pile. I thought that's the way he was going to get done, but it doesn't look like it. Jimmy Garoppolo ain't practiced one lick, bro. He ain't practiced one lick. I've been on NFL Network. He ain't practiced one lick, and he is out there and mad available stuff out there. But my biggest thing, man, that happened is from my hometown squad, the world champion LA Rams, man. Highest pick, 3rd rounder, Logan Bruss.
Who?
Yep. Offensive lineman, as we're trying to rebuild this offensive line to guard Matt Stafford's new arm injury. Immediately, he gets the 2-for-1 special. ACL, MCL. Peace and love out for the year. We done already seen, like we talked about, the aforementioned Tampa Bay Buccaneers cluster offensive line injury / retirements. And now
I think they had another one since the last podcast.
They did. When we talk about the Rams, we've been waiting for Tutu Atwell to come up. And this might be the year because Van Jay is hurt. And we brought in Allen Robinson to go with what we already had. So where is Tutu Atwell going to get there? Now we got Lance coming in here. So it's just like when we had my man Josh Reynolds, who was trying to fight for airtime, and he's now in Detroit with my man Goof. You said you haven't seen nothing from the Seahawks?
The running back Kenneth Walker they got in. That's
cold-blooded, yeah.
He some minor hernia surgery, but he still might not be ready. Well, says he'll be. They say he'll be ready for week 1, but I really doubt that. You know how that's gonna go. Drew Lock just came back from his little COVID stint. He must have been hanging out at the Barcott facilities. But and it sounds Gino and the lock competition is going to be heating up. I mean, at this point, if you're not going to go with Lock, then you might as well just go with Jacob Eason.
It seems like Drew Lock's going to slide right back into the 1 spot. It sounds that's the impression that I got. But
I mean, they are waiting on Jimmy G to get released, which is going to happen because I think he's a matter of like a week away from his contract becoming guaranteed for the year. So they're going to cut him soon.
Yeah, when they go
now, there's no guarantee he'll go to to Seattle. I mean, there's a lot of teams out there that would sign him.
Still,
I don't know if that offense is what he wants. You're also asking a guy to come in basically week 1 with no reps,
no book,
has never seen your offense outside of film sessions, obviously, and then actually go execute it with no practice, and that's always a disaster. I don't know what Seattle's going to do because there's a handful of teams walking around with better backups than Seattle.
That's what I'm saying. They have to do it because I'm looking at who really needs a quarterback now.
I have a couple of those teams on here as well on my list.
Who you got need a quarterback right now?
We can
I'm looking right now, and I'm going. Aside from the Browns putting a staple on the situation, to be honest, you mentioned the Giants earlier, and I was pleasantly surprised by what I saw in the first drive, because that's all you get is the first drive of preseason with the Giants' last one, right? So the Giants played the Bengals, and Daniel Jones, and sometimes he looks like Daniel Jones, like he looks like the guy. He looks like he's ready to play the part because he has the double threat situation in him, and he has the arm. The arm is there. They got this kid named, I think it's David Sills. Look like Cooper. It reminds me of Cooper Kupp. He's running all of Cooper Kupp's routes. Don't jack my fantasy sleeper neither, because if he comes available, I'm on that, because I think he might be balling out because nobody knows his name. Philadelphia just looks like they can just run the ball on anybody, and that feels like that's just their identity. You throw Gainwell, whoever, blah blah blah. Sanders is going to be out again this year at the beginning of the year again, but it does not matter who they throw back there. I was just watching them even in the third quarter, still handing it to dudes, and the O-line was feeling themselves enough to make these holes, and that's like a team mantra for them. So I think
they had like 3 different dudes get 100-yard games last year. I mean, they'll hand the ball to anybody.
Boston Scott, Miles Sanders, Gainwell. Those are the 3, and then there's one more rookie that they got coming behind him too. But man, yeah, it's gonna be in that division. It's got me the NFC East, because you know how fun that division is always to talk about, because once Eli left, it's like, who cares about that division altogether, because the Cowboys still can't get it together enough to look like what their play like their potential looks like on. Do the Redskins got something? Oh, my bad. Oh, the Commanders, my fault. Okay, I'm canceled. Do the Eagles?
I do think that the NFC East, as bad as it's been the last 2 years, I do think it's up and coming. I do think that all 4 of them, well, the Dallas did not improve, but I do think the other 3 teams have improved greatly. Now, that doesn't mean greatly as in outside of Philly playoff teams, but when you look, I mean, Washington's only a couple years removed from a 3-win season. They're way better than that now. I do think the Giants have gotten better than they were, say, 2 years ago. Philly's definitely gotten better. I still think it's a weak division, but I will say this. I think the NFC North, I realize Green Bay is taking a step back, but they're still going to compete. I like Minnesota's weapons.
Okay.
But Chicago and Detroit are terrible.
I was going to say
Detroit's gotten better, but Chicago and Detroit are not. Detroit's
terrible.
I was gonna say
you haven't watched.
I've watched Hard Knocks.
Yeah, we'll get into that. I was gonna save the division.
Usually all that emotionality and all that rah. That's usually for teams that they need it, because I'm gonna tell you right now. You know this. Your boys, the Rams, they're not doing that. They're not doing that. They're not calling her running back into the middle of the huddle and crying.
You want to go play for Dan the Man Campbell right damn now.
Well, I'm not saying Dan's back. I'm not saying Dan's back coach at all. My point is, good team. I promise you right now, a Harbaugh and the Ravens, they're not having all that emotionality on the field. The Rams aren't. Tampa Bay is. I mean, good. That's my point. They're good teams that know who they are. And I do think Detroit's on the up and up. I do think Detroit can win 6 or 7 games. But my point is, you're looking at, when I was talking about the NFC East, and I know Jason wants to get off the topic, so I will after this. I think it's getting better as while the Green Bay Packers are taking a step back. Chicago is just a fucking mess. And Detroit, 3 wins last year, maybe 6 or 7 this year. But you're looking at a division that, like, really the Minnesota Vikings are the best team in that division. They just fired their head coach last year. So now that's all of a sudden.
Kirk Cousins on COVID again.
Right? Well, he won't get that shot, man. So I do like what the NFC East is doing. I still think that the division as a whole's got a long way to go. But I think that.
So you're trying to say you don't think that Rodrigo is good for at least 3 wins? Rodrigo's
not going to be starting linebacker.
Rodrigo is not.
He's not.
Rodrigo better make special teams, though.
I think you're right, Bark. I mean, you are right that these coaches aren't going to be the head coaches aren't going to be as fired up as Campbell is. But damn, he is a fun guy to watch out there.
Oh, I enjoy.
I ain't doing no up downs though.
I enjoy the
no.
whole coaching staff. I get what they're trying to do. I do. I'm not diminishing what they're trying to do. It's got to translate though. And while the players are buying into it, and I love that the players are buying into it, and I love what the coaches are doing. My point is, you don't see good teams do that stuff.
Yeah.
Because good teams just know.
Right.
I
guarantee
the Rams just walk into practice every day knowing I'm going to beat your ass. I don't need somebody to rah me up.
Yeah.
You know? And now again, we know McVay's hyper excitable. He'll sprint down in the end zone, high five after a touchdown. Like, I'm not saying that doesn't happen, but I'm talking about that every single day where we're having speeches and stuff. That's not happening in San Francisco, LA, either LA team, Tampa Bay. That's not happening, you know.
But at the same time, you have to balance that with Mark Brunell's coaching style. It says, just go out there, throw it to our guy, don't throw it to the other team, and that's all I have to say for practice today. Get out there and go ball out. See, I mean, you have to balance it.
Jared Goff needs a little bit more than that, but I get you.
Jared Goff needs a whole lot more than that.
Yeah.
Well, and where is Jared Goff? Notice that they are strategically hiding my boy Goof, and he has not had not one line in this version of Hard Knocks after when they did the double Hard Knocks with the Rams,
and he got a whole bunch of airtime.
Yeah, that's why they're not giving him.
He got a whole bunch of airtime back there. A whole bunch of airtime he didn't even need because he was saying stuff without thinking.
You know what's funny is that they did that. Because on Hard Knocks, the rule is you have to be a team that hasn't been in the playoffs for X number of years.
Oh, word! I didn't know that.
Yeah,
it seemed to be. Yeah, it seemed to be.
They're always losing. There are always teams that want to play, and I think it's like a 2 or 3 year window. You know, that's why I always joke with Cowboy fans. That's why you guys have had more Hard Knocks episodes than anybody in NFL history. Because they'll do a playoff.
I thought Hard Knocks was like the story documentary of the Bengals for a while. That's just what it was.
Right.
At the same time, though, think about this, AB. Now, check this out. The new school player is a different character, right? So now imagine who the new school player is going to be coming in after NIL. But the new school player can't be coached like our PE teacher used to do us, right?
Oh, 100%.
So they're finding maybe that Aaron Glenn and Hake Fraley and Deuce Staley and Brunell and these are some names out here now. To be honest with you, this is like a Pro Bowl team right here, kind of assistants that they got out there. So there's no reason they shouldn't be able to bite enough kneecaps to get the over on wins, I would think.
Well, and like you were talking about too, though, is it, you know, are they going to buy? It seems like they're buying in, but they still lost. I know it was their first year last year, but they still lost like 6 games or something like that in like the last 2 minutes of the game where they were up and then, you know, gave it away, and they just did it again in preseason. I think their last preseason game, you know, they gave it the little fumble and then all that they gave up the ball. Of course, that wasn't their first team in there, but, you know, a little different aspect. But I mean, what do you say that? Let's see, they won. I have it right here. What, 3 games last? Is that what you said last year?
Yeah, I think they won.
Yeah, 3-13-1. You know, I think they definitely eclipse that. Who knows what the over-under's in? We're gonna have to get that on the next one too. The over-under win totals like we do every year.
Yeah, we'll
put in some 2 cents into that.
We'll hit the betting stuff up next week.
And by the way, I do like their coaches. I'm not knocking the coaches. I said that. I like what their coaches are doing. I like that the players are buying in. My point is, when the winning starts, and it will eventually, everybody turns around eventually.
Yeah, you gotta have that winning state.
That can, now the question will be, once they start to win, how do you reel that in? Because once you start winning, that rah-rah shit they don't need to hear anymore. Like, again, that's why Sean McVay and them, even though they're excitable and they're jumping up and down, run down, but they're not giving emotional speeches. They're not literally in tears at every practice.
That's why they want veterans. That's why they want veterans.
Let's hit the top five quarterbacks again real quick, homie. I know you rolled yours off last week, and then let's end it with some MLB.
Oh man, I didn't do it. Did I do a top 5? I did an impromptu top 5, didn't I?
Yeah, I think you did. Let me see if.
Look, I do have this for you though. Okay.
If not, I got my top 5 quarterbacks whenever you're ready.
I got a top 5 for you right here. Top 5 second-year quarterbacks. All right. So yeah, because we had 5 of them last year. Okay. And this year we don't have that conversation to discuss. So we might as well talk about the sophomore year for these guys. And far and away highest potential candidate in year 2 is going to be Trey Lance because of what the 49ers offer him in terms of weapons available, right? And to fit his skill set. Number 2, I had Zach Wilson prior to this injury, but I think I'm going to have to slide ahead Justin Fields, which is sad that I have to do this. Okay, and then now I have to move Trevor Lawrence into the 3 spot, and then place Zach Wilson right there, which leaves the boy Mac Jones at 5. Now, don't be surprised that I put Mac Jones at 5 because Bill Belichick don't even want to give him. He barely got a quarterback's coach. They don't have an offensive coordinator per se. I don't know what kind of cost-saving measure that is, but you just got dudes out here, and we just going to decide who's going to call plays. This is a recipe for disaster. It's not going to work well. I thought this was going to be the comeback mission for Bill Belichick to show and prove because of the division he's in, but you don't let Miami sneak, okay? And he was about to let the Jets sneak before, this just happened. Okay, so this is going to be tough for Mac Jones, and I think this is going to reveal a lot because they still didn't give Mac Jones any weapons. See if you can find a name past Jacoby and Myers and it not be a law firm on TV for the Patriots.
And the sad part is their whole receiving core, tight ends included, is the highest paid core in the NFL. I agree.
They gave Jonnu Smith a gang of money to pull him out of Tennessee.
And the cat out of Hunter, the cat out of
yeah.
Mac Jones has not one person that can get separation.
Devontae Parker?
No, he's not going to get separation as a threat. He's going to get separation underneath.
And don't forget little Jordan Humphrey though.
Yeah. Anyways, so I mean, you can throw out Devontae Parker and Jordan Humphrey all you want, but they're making more. They're making more money than the Chargers wide receivers. They're making more money than the Rams wide receivers after Cooper Kupp's extension and Allen Robinson being signed as a free agent. They are still spending more money in New England than the Rams are. Think about that. The dudes in New England that no one can name outside of Devontae Parker as a group are making more money than the Rams and Chargers groups. Now, you tell me which group you want to throw to.
Then you have Nelson Aguilar, who couldn't catch a water in the rain for years with the Eagles. Jacoby and Myers, I mean, he's never going to get picked up for any fantasy team at any point in any year. So this is what you're working with, and you have the Gronk and Aaron Hernandez strategy going on with Jonnu Smith and Hunter Henry. That's what you're trying to work with. I don't see Danny Amendola walking through that door. Wes Welker is not walking out of that locker room anytime soon. Julian Edelman is not walking. I need somebody like that because they don't have anything that I'm working. They got 5 running backs that might give you 100 yards on any given day, but they all gonna happen at different times. So don't own any of them neither. If you talk,
you're never gonna know, and you never have known for years in the running back situation for them. It's always hit and miss.
Homie, you said that, and Bill Belichick was asked 2 days ago about Julian Edelman's return. He said that's up to Julian if he wants to come back.
I'm gonna give you my top 5 quarterbacks that I got. So I'll go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Let's do it.
5 Stafford, 4 Herbert, 3 Burrow, 2 Allen, 1 A-Rod. And you got an honorable mention for Tua.
Outside looking in.
Tua
What?
Tagovailoa. And
I'll
even give
and no Patrick Mahomes.
I'll even give you another honorable.
Wait a minute, you didn't put Mahomes in your top 5?
No.
He did that on purpose.
And you can't forget about honorable mention my boy Jameis, famous Jameis, healthy, and
we need to have him make up some more lists. We need to have him make a list every week.
I got to ask you a question. If he wasn't in Denver, would Russ be your top 5 if he was still in Seattle?
Nah, he would be. Yeah, he would definitely be top 5.
Okay, so his trade now knocks him out of the top 5.
Yeah, he definitely not top
Drew
5.
Lock is on the outside looking in.
Till he can prove
barely
himself.
missed it at 7.
till he can prove himself in a new environment. But you can't forget about your boy up in the horseshoe, homie, Matt Ryan.
New
Matt
destination.
Ryan could be a very good
ready to
pick,
thrive.
and we're going to talk about all this next week.
Ready to thrive, boy.
Talk about
So you
all
know
the
what?
weapons and all
You know
that
what?
later on this week or next
I'll
week.
throw out my top 5.
Yeah, what you got?
2 names. And
Okay.
I have a problem with Matt Ryan because as good as Matt Ryan is, he's going to find out, just like Carson Wentz did, that when Pittman is your number 1 wide receiver, you're in trouble. Okay? Because that's not a great wide receiver group. Now I realize. Now wait a minute. Carson Wentz has probably got a better wide receiver group in Washington than he had in Indy. I'm not saying he has a better team, but he's got a better group of wide receivers. Terry McLaurin would have been the number 1 wide receiver in Indy, no question. Yeah, so here's my top 5, and I did tell Jason this. I put my top 5 in based off of not only talent, obviously, but who you have to throw to. So Aaron Rodgers is not in my top 5. Even though he's a first ballot Hall of Famer, but who the hell is he throwing the ball to now?
That's right.
So I mean, he's already complaining about it. So in no particular order in these 5, I've got 3 young ones. I've got Herbert. I've got Pat Mahomes, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, who I think is going to be studying. You talk about weapons. He's got 2 just gigantic weapons to throw to. And then, of course, Tom Brady. It's going to be tough to get Tom Brady. I mean, the guy last year had 5,000 yards, 40 touchdowns. He's a guy I forgot, even though I had him on my team, I forgot Gronk was on pace for 1,000 yards. He had 800 yards and like 9 touchdowns or something like that with all those games missed. So that's my top 5: Herbert, Mahomes, Brady, Josh Allen, and Joe Burrow. And that's because those are quarterbacks that are going to produce with the talent around them. I think they'll be your 5 best because of the weapons.
Yeah, I definitely. If you put it with weapons, I agree with you. I agree with you a little bit there too. I just think that, I think Rodgers and Brady are kind of in the same boat. Like, you still have Mike Evans obviously down in Tampa Bay. So his weapons, Brady's weapons are better than Rodgers' weapons right now. But I still think Rodgers will be able to make his team better no matter what. Whoever.
I do have an honorable mention.
No way.
Who's the honorable mention though?
I got Stafford, honorable mention. I think Matthew Stafford's that just the way McVay can call a game, and you talk about a team that loses the kid from USC last year who's down at Tennessee. Then you bring in OBJ, you lose him, and then you just go out and sign, 100-catch receiver and Allen Robinson. I mean, they just keep chugging along, man. I mean, Matthew Stafford is going to have an embarrassment of riches. To throw to hand the ball off to. I really like what they're going to be able to do. He's my honorable mention. I really like Justin Herbert though.
All right, I got a top 5. Since we go one together. All right. Well, first we're going to go outside looking in. Honorable mention. Come on, man. How can y'all look? I'm not jaded, okay, but you got to say Derek Carr. Come on, man. Derek Carr is going to get in this year. He's going to put in work. I would give not only on the strength of Devontae Adams leaving, I would put Derek Carr over Aaron Rodgers just for that fact. Okay, just for that fact alone. Forget Third and Renfro, forget Waller, forget everything else. Just on that alone. Okay. Number five is young Herb, Justin Herbert. Number 4 is Matt Stafford. Number 3 is Joey B, Joe Burrow. Number 2, undeniable top 2 is Josh Allen. And then number 1 is undeniable until they take the ball out of his hand from throwing backwards and hitting the crossbar at 40 yards. You know what I'm saying? You can't deny Patrick Mahomes because he plays every preseason game. Bang, bang. Couple touchdowns, and I'm sitting down. Where's my headset? Yeah, I mean, come on. He's the only one that still plays it like an OG quarterback. You go out there, you do what you're supposed to do, score touchdowns, and you sit out. That's it. Come on, man. Until I see otherwise, that's what it's going to be. Josh Allen, though, hey, that little escapism that you did and that little pass, little bullet to Gabriel Davis yesterday, shout out to you for that, though.
All right, we got enough NFL talk. We could talk all day about that, and we'll talk a whole lot of in-depth next week. We're going to have to dedicate a whole one just to the NFL next week.
Lots of more stuff.